Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining this panel. As you might remember, yesterday we reviewed as long as in-country spectrum auctions were taking place and MNOs were deploying the 5G standalone networks, we analyzed with the international carriers how we could, let's say, gather this international opportunity, this new business, mainly boosted by global customers, roaming, and IoT. If you remember the session, finally what we understood is that all the participants were trying to move away from commercializing a commodity. And today, we will deepen into this idea and how 5G is going to help us. In other words, we just extended the value chain to cover more geographies, or are we doing more sophisticated developments and incorporating new players? So this is why we thought it was very interesting to propose you a session today, which title is wholesale moving into solutions? And if yes, how MEF members can benefit from it. I'm Ignacio Garcia Comin, 20 years plus in the industry, working for telco carriers and international technology companies in sales and business development positions, and I have the honor to moderate this panel. We have fantastic panelists, very senior ones, and let me introduce them. They have different backgrounds, and I'm really sure you are going to enjoy the session. So please welcome François Moreau de Saint-Martin, EVP Strategy from Orange. François, you are very welcome.
Thank you very much, and a good afternoon to everyone.
Perfect. We have with us as well Lionel Hovsepian, Chairman from Wesley, Clover, Europe, and Alacrité. Hi,
yes.
Lionel.
Hi, Ignacio. Hi, François. Good afternoon, everybody.
Great to have
you. Nice to be with you today.
Excellent. And we have representing Equinix, Jim Poole, VP Business Development. Jim, you are very welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello, everybody.
Perfect. So we have three very different perspectives. I think François is going to help us to do the transition with yesterday's discussions. And we have structured the discussions in three blocks. The first one is assessing the business opportunity. The second one, what the different companies are doing to make these things happen, to implement the business, innovation, developments, deployments, and how the go-to-market is being affected. What are the go-to-market implications? So let's start by the first block, assessing the business opportunity. François, one question for you. Please, we all know Orange very well, but please let us know a little bit more about you and where do you see, let's say, current Orange focus?
Okay, I know that you all know Orange very well. So with over 260 million customers in 26 countries. But so within Orange, so I'm in charge of the strategy for the wholesale and international networks division. And so we are a leading player in the wholesale business for telecommunications. We provide a wide range of services in domestic and international wholesale, roaming, voice, the messaging, data interconnection, and access to Orange infrastructure and networks. Well, so in this domain, there are many topics we can discuss. But so key starting point is to listen to what the customers are saying. And when we listen to our customers and partners, so some of you have probably been interacting with us as part of this process, or your colleagues. And what do we listen? Actually, you're looking for more simplicity in doing business in the wholesale arena, and you expect this simplicity to a large extent from convergence. 81% of you have said that there is a lack of simple convergent offerings in the wholesale market, of multi-service offerings encompassing voice, messaging, data, roaming, content delivery, and security. And so our focus when listening to this is to address and deliver the promise of multi-service convergent offers, which are simple and make your life simpler in doing business. And that's a big thing for us to be part of this transition.
Perfect, François. Thank you very much. Lionel, for those that we know, Wesley, Clover, Alacrité, there are brands that are linked to innovation, but please let us know a little bit more.
Yes, for sure. You can see from my gray hairs that I've been in the industry for quite a while, nearly 40 years right now, running a number of companies on the technology side, but also on the telecom operator side, like MCI, Qualcomm, former Verizon. Wesley Clover is an investment fund, and he is the one who has funded a number of companies that I had been delighted to manage in the past. And Wesley Clover, through this fund, has also a number of incubators in which Wesley Clover is co-investing to develop new leading-edge technologies companies. So this is what we're doing, basically. So Wesley Clover is participating to innovation and starting up companies in this new world of digital transformation. So having said that, so we are also very close to the telecom operator. And I'm delighted today to sit alongside with Equinix and Orange that I did business for many years in the past, of course. And I hope we'll talk about the implication in 5G. And I think this is the next question. But ultimately, so we are very involved in all the technology that surround the telecom operator needs to help them, as you mentioned, bring more simplicity and help them to have a simple convergence in the technology, in the solution that telecom operators sell.
Perfect. Can you please give us some figures about, let's say, number of startup investments that Wesley Clover is involved, just to have an idea about the size of the animal?
Oh, yes, for sure. So we have studied of more than 140 companies. So that's a lot, with a bit more than 1 billion direct investments. Okay, so we participate to 20 IPOs, and we get a public return of 3.5 billion. So definitively, this is a big fund. And the two flagship companies that you might know, and Orange probably knows very well, used to be, so the company don't exist anymore, New Bridge Networks. And Orange was one of the largest customers, by the way, with Dutch Telecom and British Telecom and all the telecom operators of the world. And the next one is Mytel, who is acting more in the private market for telephony.
Perfect. Thank you, Lionel. Jim, again, thank you very much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about Equinix. How suppose data center company is in a mobile ecosystem forum chat. This is something that probably quite a few attendees are wondering themselves.
Sure. So, people are probably familiar with Equinix from, the perspective that we host a lot of network infrastructure. We also are the largest hoster of hyperscale gateways, as well as the largest hoster of sort of private IT infrastructure on a global basis. So, we operate in 28 countries across 68 different metros. And really the innovation of Equinix's business model that applies in this particular case is sort of the convergence of what people used to think of as kind of the telecom meet me room, right? Where telcos would exchange traffic along with the hosting of compute infrastructure. And so if you were to look at Equinix's footprint on a global basis and compare it to population and GDP, if you were to say, for example, draw a 10 millisecond circle around every metro where we do business, we cover about 80% of the population of Europe and North America, just as an example. So when we start thinking through all the possibilities of things like multi-access edge compute, as they apply to the business possibility of 5G, Equinix believes that we are sort of the ideal location to unlock immediate business value because of the convergence of all the various different infrastructure players already resident in Equinix facilities.
Excellent, Jim. So I see that, let's say, there is clearly a convergence between the wireless and the wireless line business, something that doesn't surprise us, but really is boosted by 5G. So I think that that's for the introductions, and to see, let's say, where we have, let's say, our main focus of activity. François, let's move into the business implementation. Clearly, as we are seeing, let's say, the ecosystem is being transformed. How are you evolving your customer needs? How you are responding to this transformation?
Well, so the transformation is that actually our customers are not expecting only connectivity, but broader range of services, and actually expect three things on top of connectivity. They expect us to help them to understand their business, to protect their business, and to simplify their business. Understand their business, I mean that with data analytics and artificial intelligence, we can bring huge value to our clients. For instance, when you look at roaming data in details, you can check all what's related to network service quality. You can fight fraud, and more important, you can understand the behavior of your customers abroad, and then you can propose them relevant offers, and you can detect silent roamers and get them to use roaming, so you can increase revenue and usage. What I mean about protecting the business is, of course, that when you think of building solutions for your customers, we need to help them to manage the risks associated to their business and provide them cybersecurity solutions. It is based on all the expertise in cybersecurity that we have, and it is also in our domain of wholesale, all what's related to fighting fraud. So with the appropriate business intelligence, with traffic monitoring to be able to detect the frauds, to be able to isolate the gray routes, and in general, the fraud management. And to give an example to how to make the business simpler, it is a need for end-to-end solution that quite often we cannot deliver only with our own assets. And we make the life of your life simpler by aggregating network assets capacity from us and from partners to deliver end-to-end solutions. For instance, so in the Ethernet connectivity area, we leverage the Metro Ethernet for Roam APIs to have a standard solution for these aggregated offers. And so in general, it makes your life simpler, and it also paves the way to a platform model, which is something that will shape our industry in the future.
Perfect, François. Thank you very much for your explanations. Jim, we saw that, let's say, François is talking about simplification and about providing the full solution to international carriers and customers. Can you please tell us what kind of developments is Equinix doing regarding these walls? I have the news that you are about to open or just have opened a new 5G technology and development center in Dallas, Texas.
Yes.
So what are you pointing, and how is this related to what François has just told us?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, one of the things that we've learned in our working with the various different operators, and to keep in mind, in our facilities, a lot of the customers that are there are actually there through our resale relationships with major operators. So we're supporting them in that particular way. But the most common use case that we run into for enterprise customers that are in our facilities is what we would refer to as hybrid multi-cloud, right? So there's two sort of truisms that always happen with an enterprise customer. One is they always use more than one cloud, which makes sense. And secondly, there's usually something in their infrastructure that stays private, whether that's for compliance, regulatory, or performance reasons. They'll take, some amount of IT infrastructure, put that in our data centers, but it needs to have proximate access to both their network service provider as well as the various different hyperscalers that they do business with. And that's pretty much a very standard thing in the wireline side of the network business, right? So if we think about 5G, the value of 5G is that it's the first business quality wireless service. So from our perspective, it's a very clear thing that an enterprise customer who already has a hybrid multi-cloud architecture is simply going to want to add 5G access to that same environment that they're already used to running on the wireline side of their business today. We think that's a natural extension. However, when you start looking at the way the existing mobile networks are put together, where most of the traffic makes its way into multi-tenant data centers over the internet, not necessarily over their Ethernet or their MPLS networks, there needs to be a little bit of a closer integration on the transport layer and various supporting services necessary to bring those quality of service transport into the facility for the 5G traffic. And so what we tend to do is we spend a lot of time developing products and services like our Fabric service, which is essentially a private, think of it as an outsourced private NNI between counterparties. So that's very widely used by all of the hyperscalers and most of the major operators globally today. Additionally, we also have a bare metal service that we also integrate with the hyperscale hybrid offerings. So things like Google Anthos or Azure Arc or Amazon ECS or EKS can all be hosted on our metal infrastructure. And so what we did in Dallas was we built a private radio network in the building attached to our Fabric, our ability to do colo, all of the hyperscale gateways that are available in the building, such that an enterprise customer or an operator could run through any sort of real life scenario to support hybrid multi-cloud, but in the context of 5G. And we think that, you know, having the ability to test scenarios in real life is an important way to help sort of bridge the business from concept to reality.
Wow, it sounds terrific, Jim. So it's a perfect way for MNOs to accelerate the product launches, as far as I understand. No?
Exactly.
Very interesting indeed. Lionel, Jim has been talking about, let's say, 5G and cloud. Alacrité is doing, of course, edge computing. I saw in your website that you have a company called Sollink. Correct me if I'm pronouncing the Spanish way, but tell us a little bit about it, please.
Sure, of course. So we all agree that 5G is the newest wireless networking standard, right? It provides so fast speed, it's reliable, and the infrastructure is rolling out globally. Okay, so we do see 5G in many of our places where we do business. However, it does bring me a story again that I went through many years ago, which was very similar to what's going on with the OTT, so the over-the-top. It is where I remember the service telecom operators was effectively concentrating on developing lines without the value add on top of it, which is basically the service. And anyway, so back to 5G first. I mean, Wesley Clover is very involved in that. We have built a trusted 5G alliance, and this alliance includes network providers, governments, regulators, but we also have added into this alliance a number of technology of choice of our companies. Because remember, what Wesley Clover is doing is developing companies with technology at the leading edge. So typically, Sollink is one of those, but I could list a number of companies that are engaging in providing value-added application and capabilities to help the business at the edge of telecom operator network. However, saying that, when we do that, so typically Sollink is they deliver a hub in the retail market or finance or in finance brand, and they help to manage the operation in a smart way, help to carrying of security and loss prevention strategy. So this is a very clever box which reside in on-premise, but they also connected to hosted places. What it means is we have edge computing technology, which now it's clearly coming at the edge of telecom operator network. Because we have the capability to bring this technology now at the edge. So many of our companies are taking advantage of that. I'll talk later on what can be done as well in the edge computing market, because I know that 5G includes already what we call the multi-access edge computing standard, right? So, but there's still a need for edge customer edge, I will say, location, yeah? And this is what Solink and many other companies that we have developed are doing. And I'm curious, by the way, to hear about Equinix and Orange on that, because I can see now this edge technology developing more and more, providing facilities to the enterprise to develop their business application in a very fast way and efficient way.
Well, it's a good question. So we are going to take your question to François and to Jim, and this is close to the concept that we were reviewing yesterday about, we call it wholesale, which is engaging both wholesale and retail relationships. I don't know, Jim or François, if you want to comment on what Lionel said.
So I agree with that concept of wholesale, as you say that we built this new business and the value of this new business with a strong understanding of retail activities, and by leveraging with the teamwork involving retail teams and wholesale teams to make things happen with the best business models, with the best user experience. And it used to be true and it's still true for international voice, for instance, but it becomes more and more important with the variety of use cases that 5G and edge computing are going to bring to the market.
Thank you. Jim, I don't know if you want to add something, otherwise I have a couple of questions for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can, to give you an example of a very common dynamic with us is that, obviously because we operate in so many different countries, the way wholesale and retail play with each other across the world is oftentimes reflective of the status of the operator where they're doing business. So for example, in, say country A, where the operator is the incumbent, they'll often have their own facilities. That's where they have the most assets, and that's where they do the majority of their retail business. However, their wholesale side will tend to be with us in the rest of the world. And a lot of our products and services get leveraged to sort of recreate the retail offer for whatever the host country does for its MNCs on a global basis. So we see this dynamic between wholesale and retail all across the globe.
Perfect. That brings us to the next block, go-to-market. So with you, Jim, let's stay with you for a while. How are you handling this multi-channel strategy within Equinix? Do you have different organizations, different segments? How are you doing? For instance, in the audience, we will have MNOs, we will have global carriers, we will have integrators. Do you have direct sales, channel management? How are you organized?
Yes,
yeah. And how the audience could, let's say, engage with them? Because I'm sure that there are plenty of opportunities behind.
Yeah, our relationship with customers is very much reflective of sort of the way our business developed over time, right? So obviously the co-location data center part of the business and the hosting of operators for infrastructure and the hosting of hyperscalers for their gateway infrastructure means that our direct relationship tends to be with very large entities that understand sort of the value of not owning the real estate, but they want to control all of the other infrastructure that they put in our building. And so, that's usually a direct sales relationship between us and the hyperscaler or us and the operator. However, if you look on the enterprise side of the equation, very large multinational enterprises oftentimes buy in a very similar manner. So about half of the Fortune 500 or about half of the Russell 2000 from an enterprise perspective are direct customers of ours. However, below that level, the majority of our customers actually come to us through our channel relationship. So large operators, on a wholesale basis or sell with relationships that we have with the major hyperscalers, in which case we have a large channel organization that essentially works with them to put their managed service customers into our space, right? So think of it as the more managed the offer, the more likely it is we have a wholesale relationship and we support them on a channel basis. The larger and the more sophisticated the customer, generally we have a direct relationship.
Correct. So it's direct for large customers and channel and partnership with aggregators and third parties, which is really something really to manage very close, considering the size of your business. No, François, are you feeling or are you perceiving the same dynamic with Orange, or are you staying in the traditional wholesale way of doing business? Do you perceive any change?
So we also perceive changes in the way to go to market, and because actually there are more and more diverse companies interested in wholesale products, from small operators to the hyperscalers, and with let's say messaging aggregators, for instance, as well. So facing this diversity, we also need to adapt the go-to-market. And to give two examples, on the one hand, digital is more and more important in the go-to-market. And so we provide many of our products already online with a fully digital customer journey. And because so all of you, our clients, our partners, want to master the solution, and the digital interfaces provide you with this situation of mastering. So for instance, with call collect number, you can pick from 70 countries. You just need to click, and you get them in a matter of seconds. And so digital is a cornerstone of a strategy, and it's also part of moving to a platform model. Another example I'd like to outline, which is addressing a quite different need of our clients, is when we prepare outsourcing deals with our clients. You know, so some companies go for outsourcing of significant part of their wholesale needs, and so, for instance, we are the outsourcing partners of PLDT Smart in the Philippines for all their international voice. We are the partner of Rakuten in Japan for their roaming needs. And so let me explain what it means, because it's also a good illustration of the move of wholesale to solutions. So in terms of roaming, you want your customers to have a high quality roaming service. And to achieve this, you need to combine a set of solutions. You need to select roaming enablers, IPX, signaling, etc., supporting all the current and future technologies. You need to gain a complete roaming coverage by signing deals with partners all over the world. You need to get all of this interworking, and also to integrate the data clearinghouses, financial clearinghouses. And on top of this, you need to pay attention to anti-fraud. You need to pay attention to analytics to extract as much value as possible from the roaming service. So, and so providing a solution encompassing all of this, this is a kind of solution which is making your life much more simple, and that's an example of what we do with our clients.
Thank you, François. It's clear that you said the platform, which is appification and digitalization of the back office, which is something that we think that is done by default, but there is a lot of work and developments behind. And you said as well the outsourcing. So things are changing, and we understand that the key message is Orange makes your life easier, I would say. No, Lionel, you as a new company developing, or a new organization developing new solutions, how is your go-to-market, and how does this impact the audience?
So the go-to-market has changed a lot in the past year. Typically, in the past, we will have go directly to the end customer on one side and to the telecom operator on the other side. So it's some kind of a traditional push-pull strategy. So making sure the end customer is aware of the technology and get some appetite to embrace that new technology. But at the same time, we need to make sure that this technology will be deployed by a telecom operator so they can offer that as a service. So it's quite of work on both parties. So you cannot have just one go-to-market. You need to really work on two sides. One good example is the SD-WAN technology, for example. We have evangelized the market for years on SD-WAN, and clearly, I mean, this technology now is embedded into a telecom operator, and they have that fully embedded as a solution to optimize quality of traffic. So this is a good example. However, having said that, we also address telecom operator in three different ways, because they are themselves impacted by digital transformation. So they have to reconsider the way they do their business themselves. So for example, we enjoy talking with the wholesale organization, but also the retail and also the IS organization. I have a good example in mind where, and these are true story, where we have discussed with the internal call center of a very large telecom operator. And this call center is basically some kind of a big manufacturer providing support for many different inside and customers outside as well, customers. And changing the way they manage the support of their customers by adding new piece of technology that are truly simplified way of providing support and automatize a number of works is changing radically the way wholesale and retail organization within the telecom operator is doing its business. So, and this was just working with the IS organization. So there's three areas. So the wholesale, retail, and IS organization are our three targets. And just one last thing I would like to say as well, this all come to my mind as I'm speaking. End customers, they also have changed radically the way they do their business, because now they have tons of technology, tons of new services, sorry, that they can buy from the cloud, yeah, SaaS-based. And sometimes they don't even know who is the carrier of choice behind. So as an example, we are selling edge computing product, and we're selling, and we have developed an edge computing product which apply only to teleworking. So what we mean is, I'm teleworking, and who is not teleworking today on this planet, right? But I want to separate and optimize my traffic when I'm doing such things, for example, as a conference, to my kids, for example, looking at Netflix, right? It's very difficult because we post on the same internet, we post on the same Wi-Fi, and how do you manage that? So we have developed a little box in which you have enough artificial intelligence in there that help from the cloud to control the traffic and optimizing the traffic such that you have good quality of service. And when we do that, actually, we're doing two things. We are addressing the retail, the end customers market, because we need to make sure, for example, that the big banks, financial institutions, so the public market and so forth, when they provide teleworking to their employees, they can provide that technology, but also need to have behind a cloud-based solution that provide the quality, the capability to manage quality of service by hosting with good connectivity to the giant service that they're using, like SAP, Salesforce, and so forth, with good peering, the capacity to provide a quality of service. And the good news is the service is deployed by over-the-top suppliers, but none of the telecom operator behind are known. Okay, so there is a little bit odd situation where there is a danger for telecom operator that providing the network capacity and capability, and hosted companies as well too, but at the end, it's going to be on the benefits of an OTT. So there's a risk there, and this is why the market, as I said at the beginning, is changing a lot, and the way we address the market is becoming rather complex.
Thank you.
Because the players are changing.
We have just 2 minutes left. Thank you very much. Jim and François, can you please tell us in 1 minute what, let's say, message would you like to pass to the audience? It's 1 minute each is our remaining time.
Sure. I guess I'll start off by saying that, you know, if those in the audience are interested in the shortest path to monetize 5G access, whether it's to hyperscale infrastructure or private infrastructure, I think then we probably should have a chat, right? Because your companies are probably already with us in our facilities on a global basis. And a lot of times it's just worth a conversation to understand how to best leverage what currently exists. The thing that I've run into in the difference between, say, the wireless side and the wireline side of businesses is, wireless has been a consumer construct for such a long time. The idea of a business wireless services creates a little bit of a challenge internally for product organizations and the engineering organizations to understand how to sort of bridge that difference. And, we would be very, very happy to have that conversation.
Perfect. So triggering new conversations. Thank you very much, Jim. François, your last minute, our last minute.
Yeah. So there is one thing that we have not discussed, and that matters a lot. It's sustainable development of the business. I believe it's truly important that we build trust and long-term relationship with our clients and partners, that we have future-proof technologies, and also that we behave in a sustainable way towards the world, the society, the planet. And so, the GSMA is committed to net zero carbon by 2050. We at Orange work to get ready by 2040. And I believe that sustainability is more and more a key decision factor for you, and it's a key driver for us in the design of our solutions.
It should be. François, Jim, Lionel, thank you very much for joining. For me, it has been a pleasure to collaborate with the MEF, and I hope the audience has enjoyed. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.